Okay, y'all actually did really well on yesterday's quiz. Really, really well, but it can't hurt to practice another problem like this. So let's go ahead and throw these numbers in and see what happens. We'll find out if it's linear, quadratic, or quadratic with a middle term. All right, so let's try our skills out. You're doing delta y. Uh-oh, delta y is not constant. What are you going to do? Okay, so thank goodness delta y was constant, so now we know it is quadratic and it's not one of those crazy exponential ones. And so we're going to not forget the 2-2 rule. We're going to make sure we divide by 2. And so our coefficient is 1, but I'm not going to, for the nth term, I'm not going to write the 1. We know it's quadratic. Now we have to figure out if it has a middle term or not. And like I said, y'all did awesome on this, so I think I can go quickly here. 1, to make a 1 look like 3, it's plus 2. 4, to make a 4 look like 11, oh man, it's not plus 2. So we now know that this one definitely has a middle term. To make a 4 look like 11, it's plus 7. To make 9 look like 21, it's plus 12. So what number, what we're looking at is what number is our note going up by each time? What is the difference? Alton got it, yep. 5. So 5 is our middle term because from 2 to 7 is plus 5, from 7 to 12 is plus 5. So our middle term is 5. 5 in, 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3. And the last step, the inventory step. So we've got 1 plus 5, so we have 6. How do we make 6 look like 3? Minus 3, right? Let's check it twice. 4. 4 plus 10 is 14. How do we make 14 look like 11? Phew! Minus 3. Sorry, minus 3, and therefore we feel pretty sure that that one is set in stone. And so, oops, I put my n on my 6, didn't I? And so we've got n squared plus 6, sorry, it's 5n. I'm not doing good without this nth column on there. N squared plus 5n minus 3. So what's our 6th term? No, too big. It's okay. It happens. 63. It does say find the 20th term and the nth term, even though that's not what the table was set up for. Did you find the 20th term? 20 squared plus 5 times 20 minus 3. Oh, that's what you found. Good job. 497. You were answering the question. Good job. Alrighty, that's all we need to say about that. Alright, let's check our homework answers. Anything else besides 17, 18, 19? Okay, thank you. Victor's like, stop asking us. I think we're good. Okay, so let's look at 17. I just want to make sure, because sometimes y'all think you're good, and then we ask you it on a quiz, and then I don't know what happens. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay. Let me just capture all 3 of these at once since you asked about all the ones in this section. 17, find the value of x so that the line through those points is parallel to the line through those points. Okay, I actually need to capture it separately because I'll need to work a little bit on this. So step one is we're going to have to find the slope. We know that to be parallel, which everyone should underline, circle this word. If we want our lines to be parallel, you should immediately think, parallel lines, same slope. So parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal. So same slope and then opposite reciprocal. Okay? So I feel like I'm doing a cheerleading cheer. So first we would need to find the slope. So that's what we're going to find first. Slope is delta y over delta x. You circle your x's and underline your y's. Underline minus underline over circle minus circle. 2 over negative 3. So our slope is negative 2/3. I want to be parallel to negative 2/3. So I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to flip it. I'm not going to switch it. I'm not going to change the sign. I'm going to keep it as negative 2/3. We want to go through this guy and this guy. And we need our slope to be negative 2/3. So we're going to do the slope formula again. Y minus y over x minus x. And that's going to equal negative 2/3. I already know what it equals because I know that these need to be parallel. So I know what it equals. Okay, so we're going to clean it up a little bit. 6 minus 2 is 4. Now, for the purpose of cross multiplying, you need to give this negative to either the 2 or the 3. It doesn't really matter. But you just need to give the negative to one of them so that when we cross multiply, we don't forget about that negative. All right, so 4 times 3 is 12. Negative 2 times x minus 5 would be negative 2x plus 10. We would subtract 10 from both sides. 2 equals negative 2x. We would divide by negative 2, so x is negative 1. Did I explain that how you wanted me to? Did that make sense? Step 1, we found the slope. Step 2, we used that slope with the slope formula to find our missing coordinate. I got it right, but yes, you explained it well. Okay. Back here. Same question, number 18. Same question, except now we want to be perpendicular. So that's going to change it a little bit, not much. I'm going to go through it quickly since it's really the same exact process. Step 1 is going to be to find the slope. Step 1, 6 minus 1 over 6 minus 0. 5 over 6. Now, we want to be perpendicular to 5, 6. Opposite, reciprocal. We want to be perpendicular to 5, 6. Opposite, reciprocal. So we want our perpendicular slope is negative 6/5. And now we're going to do what we did last time. And I'm not going to take time to write everything out, okay? But I will set it up for you. 9 minus 3, that's y minus y, over x minus x. And we're going to set that equal to negative 6/5. So that's when you clean it up and then you cross multiply. Okay? I'm going to let you handle that. Last one. A triangle has vertices with coordinates, with those coordinates. R is the midpoint of AB, S is the midpoint of BC, and T is the midpoint of AC. Find the slope of those lines. So guess what you're going to do first? You're going to find 3 midpoints. Okay? So first we're going to find the midpoint of AB and we're going to call it R. So this is really good practice with midpoint. Really good practice. I'll circle all my X's, circle, 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 and underline all my Y's. So R is the midpoint of AB, so I'm going to focus on AB first. Add my X's and divide by 2. Add my Y's and divide by 2. So we get 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1 plus 7, that's 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So there's R. We got R. It's 2, 4. Okay? Now let's find S. S is the midpoint of BC. So we're going to add our x's and divide by 2. And add our y's and divide by 2. Check me, make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so 1 plus -1, that's 0. 0 divided by anything is 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, lastly, it was asking us for t, and that's the midpoint of AC. So add the circles and divide by 2, and add the underlines and divide by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then -2 divided by 2. Woo! Did I do everything right? Are y'all checking me? I found R, I found S, I found T. We did midpoint formula 3 times. This is good practice. So now you're going to actually find the slopes. Okay, so the slope of RS, oh my goodness, so we have to do delta y over delta x using R and S. So that would be 4 minus 2 over 2 minus 0. So that would be 2 over 2, which would be 1. All right. The slope of RT, so it would be y minus y over x minus x. So that would be 5 over -1. Okay? And then finally, oh man, I think I'm going to have to do this problem all day today. Maybe I'll just tell them to watch the recorded lesson. Finally, we're doing ST. So we would do y minus y over x minus x. So that would be 3 over -3, so we'd be at -1. So if I asked you, hey, that is a triangle, and I actually know that it's a right triangle, and I hope you know why I know that it's a right triangle, where is the right angle? Based off of these slopes, if I knew that that was a right triangle, where would the right angle be? Guys, I'm talking about triangle RST. Triangle RST is a right triangle. So what is the intersection of RS and, no, it would be the one, it would be this one. Look, these two are opposite reciprocals, right? 1 and -1 are opposite reciprocals. So it would be where RS meets ST. Where does RS meet ST? Chloe and V got it. S. So there's a right angle at point S. That's a right triangle because the slopes of those two segments are opposite reciprocals. Cool. All right, that's enough of that. We're done going over homework. That was enough solving on Miss Stanton's part, don't you think? All right. Now we're going to write the equation of a line today. You're going to very much feel like you're in algebra once again. But we will move on to geometry after this unit, I promise. So get out your notes and let's write some things down. We're going to talk about 3 different forms today. How many forms? 3 different forms today. So the first form that we're going to talk about is slope-intercept form. So write it down, slope-intercept form. This is the one you're probably the very most familiar with. Y equals mx plus b. M is our slope, and b is our y-intercept. Yes, you've heard of it. If you haven't, you're in trouble. No. An example would be y equals 5x minus 2, where 5 would be our slope, and -2 would be our y-intercept. The next form I want to talk about, by the way, these are on your formula chart. The next form I want to talk about is point-slope form. Okay, Rishi. And I sent one. I probably sent one as well. You're right. I probably did. Good. It's also on the website if you lose it. Sorry. Point slope form is never our final destination. It's always like a stop on our way to our final destination. You would never, I don't think I never ask you to put an answer in slope-intercept form. But we do use it to get to other forms. It's a vessel. It's like a vessel. All right. Last form. Standard form. This is like the formal form. It's like slope-intercept form is like the everyday form, and this is like you're getting dressed up for a party form. This is standard form. This is really important that you write it down. AX plus BY equals C. And you need to write the rules down. When you're formal, there's different rules that you have to follow, right? You have to be more proper when you're being formal that day, right? And so the rules are no fractions are allowed, none. None of the numbers can be a fraction. And the leading coefficient has to be positive. In that form, AX plus BY equals C, which one is the leading coefficient? No, Victor, you don't make it a decimal. It has to be an integer. A, good. A is the leading coefficient. Yep. C can be negative. B can even be negative, but A can't be negative. Okay, let's move on. Find the slope and y-intercept in each of the equations. I'll call on you, okay? Some of these are tough, some of them are not. It's okay. 3 and 2, very good. The slope is 3 and the y-intercept is 2. Who's up next? You can go in any order. I think I can handle it. Lars says 1/2 and 0. No. Try again. Let's see, Chloe, negative 5/2 and 8. Chloe's putting negative 5/2 and 8. Graham is getting 3/5 and 2/5. Those are looking good. Who else? Ganesh and Lars. Do we need to stop and have a talk real quick about, not a bad way, just about vertical and horizontal lines? All right, we're going to talk about these two lines. Okay, line A. What's the equation of line A? What's the equation of line A? What axis, if you start at 0, 0, what axis do you travel on to get to that line? What axis? Definitely the y-axis. So this is a y equals problem, and how far do you travel? 1, 2, 3. So this line is y equals 3. What's the slope of that line? 0. Very good. Remember? Because I could make a z out of it. So the slope is 0. Would you agree that anytime it's y equals a number, the slope is going to be 0? Anytime it's y equals a number, the slope is going to be 0? Right. Okay, what about B? What is the equation for line B? Are we looking at the same line? Okay, you travel from 0, 0, you travel on the x-axis and you go backwards 2. So that equation is x equals negative 2. Now what's the slope of that line? I know you got it, Lars. The slope, I could make a u out of this. So the slope is undefined. Some people say no slope sometime, but I like to say undefined. The slope is undefined. Do you agree that every time x equals an integer, the slope will be undefined? Yes. Okay? So now we feel good about those. So Ganesh and Lars, you are now ready. Slope is 0 and y-intercept is 7. Awesome. And Lars? Slope is undefined. And y-intercept is? Good job! It does not exist. It will never cross the y-axis because x equals 1/2 is parallel to the y-axis. Very good. Are you guys okay with what happened down here? You cannot read a slope or a y-intercept until it's in y equals mx plus b form. So you have to move it around and make sure that you isolate y. Okay. You have to isolate y. That's why they got those fractions. They were moving the x over and dividing by the coefficient of y. All right. Example number 2. Write the equation of the line that contains 3, -8 and is perpendicular to the line y equals 1/5 x plus 7 in slope-intercept form. I'm going to show you 2 ways. But I'm going to start with point-slope form because I think that there is a place for point-slope form, and I think it's important to know it and learn it because you'll use it in the future. So I'm going to start with point-slope form. What we want is we want to be perpendicular. Everyone would circle that if that was on a quiz. We want to be perpendicular to y equals 1/5 x plus 7. His slope right now is 1/5. The slope we want, the perpendicular slope to that, would be -5, right? Not x. Don't put an x. I'm glad you did that because students do that all the time. The slope is -5. The slope is not -5x. X is never part of the slope. Okay, so the slope is -5. We now have a point. We have a point and we have a slope. So guess what? When you have a point and you have a slope, you're going to use point-slope form because you have a point and you have a slope, and that's its name. So you look in your notes and you look and you see what point-slope form says. It says y minus y1, that's this guy right here, y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1, which we got from here. Okay, that's point-slope form. Where the y1 is and the x1, that's where you put your coordinate, and then where the m is, that's where you put your slope. Okay. Now we're going to clean it up because we need to be in slope-intercept form. So this says y plus 8 equals, I'm going to go ahead and distribute that, -5x plus 15. We are almost in slope-intercept form. We only have one more step to be in slope-intercept form, and that's to subtract 8 from both sides. Y equals -5x plus 15 minus 8, 7. So our final answer is y equals -5x plus 7. Very good. Do you have to use point-slope form? No, I'm never going to require you to, but like I said, it will come in handy in the future, and so having practice with it would be beneficial. All right. Practice this. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so I would go to point-slope form. If you know how to go straight to y equals mx plus b and plug those in to find your b, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you can't do that, but I am kind of partial to point-slope form, so I am going to do that even on this one. Since they give me a slope and they give me a point, I'm going to use point-slope. So y minus y equals m x minus x. So then I'm going to distribute this guy right here. So I'm going to get y minus 9 equals 2/3 x minus 2. Do you see how the 3's are going to cancel? 3 in the denominator and 3 in the numerator. And then we just add 9 to both sides. Y equals 2/3 x. We have a plus 7 again, don't we? This one, you can literally just do y equals mx plus b. And then you realize, oh, 0 times anything is 0. And so you just end up getting y equals 4. So that one's kind of silly, but you still need to know how you would go through the process when the slope is 0. Y equals 4 was the answer to part B. If the slope is 0, then it's a y equals problem. Now, here's the kicker. Write an equation in the formal form. We're going to write an equation in standard form, so get ready. Okay. What we can do, like on A, what we can do is we can start out, if I give you an M and a B, you start out in y equals mx plus b, because that form has those letters, okay? So I would start out in y equals mx plus b. Right now, let's get it into the form, the standard form. So we need x to come first, then we need y, and then on the other side of the equal sign we need c. Okay? So I'm going to move my x over. Okay, take a look at that. That's ax plus by equals c. Except, we're disobeying all of our rules. We have a fraction and our leading coefficient is negative. We are so grounded. Oh my gosh. So we need to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We need to get rid of the negative and we need to get rid of the fraction. So we multiply everything by -3. Very good, Victor. We multiply everything by -3. How did we choose -3? That number came from the denominator. So if I multiply -2/3 times -3, the negatives cancel and the 3's cancel, so I just get 2. -3 times y would be -3y, and -3 times -1 would be 3. So 2x minus 3y equals 3. That is A, that's equation A in standard form. ax plus by equals c. We're obeying all the rules because there's no fractions and because our A is not negative. On B, this one is actually really easy. It's another one of these where the slope is 0. So that y equals -9, that is standard form, that's slope-intercept form, that's point-slope form, that's all the forms because that's really the only form that that one can take. Okay? So y equals -5 is -9 is considered standard form because there is no x. It's like 0x. Okay. Here's some more standard form ones. Okay, now I'm given a slope and I'm given a point. So that means I should probably use point-slope form. Slope, point-slope form. Okay? So y minus y equals m x minus x. Y minus 3 equals 5x minus 5. And now we literally just need to move things around until it looks like standard form. I'll move the 5x over and the 3 at the same time. -5x plus y equals, let's see, plus 3. And now I'm disobeying one of my rules because my leading coefficient's negative. So I would need to multiply everything by -1. 5x minus y equals 2. Doing okay? Does this apply to parabola? Oh, we're writing linear equations. We will not write quadratic equations. Okay. Let's do C, and then we're going to be done. We're going to write this in standard form, and this is going to take a little bit of work, so I'm going to start on a new page. So stay strong. This is our last one, and then make sure you do your homework over the weekend. Did it capture it? Okay. So write the equation for this line in standard form. To write an equation, we at least need a point and we need a slope. We don't have a slope yet. So step one is going to be to find a slope. Circle your x's and underline your y's. Let's find a slope. Y minus y over x minus x. So that would be negative 3 over 7. So our slope is negative 3/7, okay? M is negative 3/7. I'm going to erase this for some room. Then we need a point. They gave us 2 points, so we get to pick whichever point we want. It really doesn't matter which point we pick. I'll just pick the first one, okay? So we're going to do point slope. Y minus y equals m x minus x. So y minus 1 equals, let's distribute this, negative 3/7 x. That's a plus, so we need to be careful. Negative 3/7 times 3 would be negative 9/7. 3 times 3 is 9. Here's the deal on this one. Here's the deal, guys. We could start to move stuff around and then get rid of our fractions, or we could just stop right now and multiply everything by 7. It's totally up to you. But I doubt that a lot of you want to try to combine a 1 and a 9/7. Probably don't want to try to add those. And so I would multiply everything by 7 right now. I think I'm starting to lose my voice. So we're going to multiply everything by 7 to get rid of fractions. So we're going to get 7y minus 7 equals negative 3x minus 9. The 7's are gone. Now this is looking prettier. Let's just clean it up. We're going to move the 3x over. And we're going to move the negative 7 over. Oh wow, we're done. Now it's pretty. That getting rid of the fraction made all the difference. 3x plus 7y equals negative 2. Real quick, I just want to make sure we know how to graph a line. I wasn't really planning on teaching this because I assume you remember it, but I just want to make sure you do remember it. You would first plot the y-intercept, and then you would count the slope. I don't know why these graphs are showing up so light. But anyways, so you would get it into y equals mx plus b form. You would divide everything by negative 2. So to plot that, to graph it, you would go down 3. And then you would put a dot there. Oh, I can see it there way better than I can see it here. That's interesting. Okay, so I didn't quite get myself at 3. Negative 3. Is that right? Okay. And then you would go up 3 over 2. Up 3 over 2. So up 3 over 2. Oh, can't see it on here. Okay. Up 3 over 2. And then remember from first unit, how many points does it take to define a line? How many points does it take to define a line? Remember I played the song? It takes 2, baby. Okay, anyways. So it only takes 2 points. So when you're graphing a line, you only have to plot 2 points. And you could connect them with a ruler if you had one or a straight edge. And you're done. You have graphed the line.